This afternoon, President Biden promoted his administration's investments in the trucking industry as he faces pressure to clear up supply chain shortages and bring down soaring inflation.
So we can draw more Americans to work with increased wages, reduced wait times, and improved safety, and so much more. Folks, there's a heck of a lot more we have to do, a lot more we have to do. Secretary Buttigieg has laid out some of the steps we're taking to make these jobs more attractive for more Americans. And it's all centered around listening to you, the drivers. Look, we've got to keep it going. We're building a better economy around American manufacturing and American supply chain.
Joining us now is Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being with us to talk about this trucking action plan. I've said before, I've got two long-haul truckers in my family, so I've heard the concerns about the safety and the turnover. My question is, what's the impact on the average American family that is concerned, as I said at the top, about inflation and the supply chain?
Look, the reality is trucking is personal for all of us, whether you're involved in the industry or not, because almost everything that we own, buy, count on every day, the clothes we're wearing, the food you ate for breakfast, just about all of it moved on a truck or several trucks. And especially at this time when we're trying to rein in prices, keeping shipping costs under control means making sure that all of our goods movement runs smoothly. Part of that is making sure that we have enough truckers, that we're recruiting truck drivers, and that we make sure the job is a quality job, compensated well, safe, so that those people who we recruit into the job stay there and make a career out of it.
So this was announced, mid-December? We're more than 100 days into this action plan. What is the fruit for the first quarter of this year for American families? Because the inflation numbers we're seeing, which in part is related to the supply chain, they're not going in the right direction.
So we've been able to do a lot just in the initial 90-day sprint from when the president challenged us to deliver on this trucking action plan. That's included dramatically increasing the number of registered apprenticeships to get more people into the field. We've also worked with states to cut the red tape that goes into issuing a commercial driver's license, a CDL. We're not talking about lowering the standards in any way, but just getting rid of some of the bureaucracy. And we brought tens of millions of dollars of federal funding to do it. We've seen dramatic improvements in many states in how long it takes to get that CDL turned around so that we can get more safe drivers on the road. All of that is helping ease some of the pressure on shipping delays, shipping times, and ultimately on prices too.
All right, let's talk about what all of us, including truckers, have to deal with, and that's the price of gas. Today, $4.18 on average for a gallon of regular, down from $4.25 a week ago, 7 cents. That is good news, but it is still high. The president announced this emergency release from the reserves of 1 million barrels of oil a day for the next 6 months. How low is the expectation for gas prices, and when will we see that continue to slide more dramatically?
So when the president took this action to release those barrels of oil from the strategic reserve, that is one of the things that's going to help stabilize oil prices. Obviously, there's no one piece, there's no one dial that controls those prices, but that's something that's going to make an impact. So are some of the other steps that have been taken. And, frankly, a lot of this also is something where we've got to look at the oil company executives who say they're not going to add supply or production right now, and ask whether that's really the right direction to go at a time like this. Can't help but notice that when oil goes up, gas goes up right with it, right alongside it. But when those oil prices start coming back down to normal, the same thing does not seem to be happening with gas prices. We've got to take a look at that, and we've got to address it.
So for families that are planning what they'll do this summer, this 6 months takes us through the peak summer driving season, should they expect that the price of gas will go back up despite the president's decision to release this oil?
Well, again, everything that is under the administration's control to help stabilize oil prices, which ultimately should have an effect on gas prices too, if companies do the right thing, that is going to continue. Of course, there are things that nobody here controls or can necessarily predict. For example, the situation we're in right now, where a significant oil-producing country has gone to war invading another country as Russia invaded Ukraine. Of course, that's going to have an effect on oil prices and gas prices, and that's one of the reasons why we're pursuing long-term strategies to help build up U.S. energy independence with a lot of renewable energy sources in that mix, so that there is less of that exposure, less of that vulnerability to the wild ups and downs of the global petroleum market.
You mentioned a long-term strategy, and you announced new fuel efficiency standards. New vehicles sold in the U.S. will have to travel 40 miles per gallon in 2026, up from about 28 miles per gallon. There are some who say that to return to the standards akin to those of the Obama administration era just is not enough, considering what has happened over the last 9 years. To those, you say what?
So we are delivering standards that are in line with the maximum feasible efficiency gains. In fact, that's written in the law, in the rules that we work with, those words, maximum feasible. Now, some of the forecasts from before, those are kind of apples and oranges because the kinds of cars on the road are driving, that people are driving on the road have shifted. But look, the bottom line is for a lot of drivers, as we get up toward that 49 miles per gallon benchmark compared to where we are now, that could mean the difference between filling up 4 times a month and filling up 3 times a month to drive the same distance. It's going to save Americans a lot of money by saving Americans a lot of gas. And it's part of this all of the above strategy, right? As you know, we're doing a lot to make it easy and easier and try to make it much more affordable to buy an electric vehicle in this country. But most people don't have an electric vehicle. Most people right now are in vehicles that are fueled by gas, which is why the efficiency of those gas vehicles also very important. Important for the environment, but also important for saving families money.
All right, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you.